So the shareholders do well because they're shareholders in the company Riverside. What Riverside owns is properties, mineral properties. Imagine it's like a rental property of real estate. You have renters come or people to come, and they have the option to buy by spending money on your property to eventually take it over and develop it. And Riverside always retains royalties. So over 20 years, we've really been a royalty generator. Now we have over 14 royalties. Soon we'll have another 5 royalties. We have royalty income coming to us, so we generate royalties. What the company coming in gets first is a turnkey project.
Good day, everybody. Steve Yang here, Natural Resource Stocks, and I have with me John-Mark Staude, President and CEO of Riverside Resources. How are you, John-Mark?
Steve, great to be with you on the show today.
Likewise. So we just came back from the Rule Symposium. I know that as we talked about, Rick Rule invests in these companies, and it's not easy to get in there. It are automatically gives companies like yourself some credibility in my mind. But how was the Rule Symposium for you?
Really great. Rick is a large shareholder. He owns almost 8% of Riverside. And so being at the Rule Symposium is a real honor. It was the 19th year in a row that we've been there. Rick has been such a strong supporter, and we've been very dedicated to the project generator model. So for us, the conference was ideal. It's great to have people come up and give you high fives and hugs. We had made so many people money. People had made money from the shares in our spinout companies that have gone from 20 cents to over $2 a share. That's a 10x gain. So we loved the conference. We had people coming up and saying, that's where we got it. Thank you, John-Mark. When will you do it again? Would you do more? Why do other CEOs not do this? It was a really special event for us.
Well, John-Mark, for those who don't know about Riverside, if you could, let's start off by giving us the ticker, the website where you guys are trading.
So we're traded on the US as RVSDF, and we're traded on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol RRI.
John-Mark, the majority of the companies that I interview are juniors and explorers or things like that, but you guys are a prospect generator. So if you be so kind as to kind of break that down, what that is and what is Riverside all about?
Yeah, so it's very different than the typical exploration company. What we are generating, we're incubating new projects. We actually incubate new management teams and eventually new companies. So we go and get projects, progress them, and then we find partners to do the exploration work, fund it, and we move it ahead with them with partner funding. That is the project generation approach. It's one of Rick Rule's favorite approaches for mineral exploration. One of the reasons they really like it is that they've done the due diligence for you as an investor. If you have someone else coming and spending the money and you don't have to, then that's got to be good enough, and it means it's not going to dilute you. So we've been able to operate now for 20 years and not dilute the company very much. It's been a very conservative and careful model, and recently we've been dividending shares of our spin-out companies to our shareholders, and they love that. I get lots of hugs.
John-Mark, for the process of coming together, is it the companies are coming to you? Are you finding the companies? Are you scouting the right people to put the companies together, making phone calls? Hey, would you want to do this? Or how's the process work? And what's the vetting process like on both sides?
So it's all the time, everything. Behind me, you can see I'm here in Vancouver, a key city center for doing deals. And I'll go out the street during the day and go and meet people and talk to them and constantly go have a coffee. I got my coffee here. Go and have a coffee with them, which is a way of saying, let's go have a meeting. I just was in a meeting. My coffee's half empty before this interview with you. Constantly on in and out. Today, I've already been working on 1 or 2 transactions, been working on a news release today. That's my typical day. So we're always looking and working technically to get the very best projects. So for us, 70% of it is about the quality of the project. 30% is getting the business deals to meet those quality assets. That's what we do for our business.
So, John-Mark, so if you can, first of all, before we get into just kind of your process of eyeing these, what makes a good project. If you can kind of tell me just the model itself, where you said the partners fund they fund the exploration, is my understanding. What does that do to the risk and upside, and what's in it for the companies, or what's in it for the people who are coming to you, your partners?
So the shareholders do well because they're shareholders in the company Riverside. What Riverside owns is properties, mineral properties. Imagine it's like a rental property of real estate. You have renters come or people to come, and they have the option to buy by spending money on your property to eventually take it over and develop it. And Riverside always retains royalties. So over 20 years, we've really been a royalty generator. Now we have over 14 royalties. Soon we'll have another 5 royalties. We have royalty income coming to us, so we generate royalties. What the company coming in gets first is a turnkey project. Secondly, we have a management team in place that can progress the project. We don't provide the funding, we're providing the project, all the permitting, everything, how to do that. The third is we have all the data compiled, ready to go. So it can be turnkey, very fast, efficient, including the major companies. So we've worked for 7 different majors, such as working for Antofagasta, for Cliffs, Kinross, Hochschild Mining, many BHP, many different companies, Centerra, have all funded, done programs with us. And so they've done the due diligence. What ends for them is turnkey, good projects, rapid go, can rapidly move towards exploration. Many of the projects we have forwarded towards resources, and we always retain a royalty. So the shareholders of Riverside own the company Riverside that gets the royalties and don't get diluted as we do it.
So you guys are primarily exclusively in North America? Is that, I think
We
I saw a
are.
lot of them in Nevada, Mexico, Canada. Is that, if you can expound on that a little bit, and is that by design, and are you looking to possibly expand elsewhere?
It's 100% by design. I had the chance to work in over 33 countries. I was the manager of Europe and Turkey, worked in Mongolia, China, Africa. It's been great. My daughter was born in Santiago, Chile, used to live in Peru. So I've had a chance to work in many different jurisdictions, which is wonderful. But when I'm putting my money up, keeping it focused into the time zones of North America, focused on this region where we can definitely develop things, get there cost effectively, and bring them particularly to the US and Canadian market. So projects that are in Mexico, the United States, and Canada are ideal for low cost, rapid development, and easy to see additional capital come in. If I was doing the same model of project generator in a remote location where I had to use helicopters, where I had to go to, cross oceans and things, it's going to be harder to get deals. So if
Yeah.
I can do it where it's easy to visit, where it can be turnkey, where we can easily see, it's easier for that party to then take the property and move it ahead. That's why we had a very focused North America only for Riverside Resources for 20 years.
Are you looking for particular assets? If you can kind of walk us through kind of what's the criteria you go through. Is there a checklist that you have? If you can expound on that.
We do. So myself, actually, I don't put on my business card, but I have a PhD in mineral economics and geology. So a lot of technicalness behind that. And so we put a lot of technical aspects into it. We also have a mega proprietary database. Long before AI was being used, we've been compiling data for almost 40 years, and that data is proprietary. And so we use this database that has over 75,000 mineral locations just in Mexico, for example. So we go and choose the 75 most favorable technical districts that not only are good as rocks, but also are good with community, with safety, with economics, with environment, with water, with trees, where you really should and could build a mine. Then we work on those districts. So that's a key aspect of it. The second thing is commodity wise, we cross any commodity. We do a lot of work in rare earth elements. We do work on gold, silver, copper. When people are funding us, we're glad to, because we've learned that different elements get into favor at different times, but we as operators can continue to get royalties that are not tied to any element. So we get a 2% net smelter royalty. on each of the properties, and whatever elements we can mine or come off of those will all be value to the Riverside shareholders. So the Riverside shareholders in the long term are guaranteed from these royalties to do well. It's really good. And we don't focus on specific commodities, although gold, copper, silver are the key commodities, and rare earth elements are currently the key aspects in Riverside's portfolio.
Is there a jurisdiction you wouldn't touch, or is everything kind of fair game?
So we ourselves, we don't mind, but we're not working in French. We're working in Spanish. That's a real skill set. Myself, growing up speaking Spanish, and so we do Spanish and English really well from a strategic reason. Secondly, we work on the western part of North America, which we feel can provide resources that can go to Asia. We feel that Asia will buy the resources. So working on the Western Cordillera is a great place for us to focus, where then we can get to ocean and out. The third thing is we definitely look for quality of where we can get really good projects that will actually have a good, stable community and good scalability. So certain states in the United States are not so favorable, certain parts of other places we wouldn't go, and security is always very important. So we focus, for example, in the state of Sonora or the state of Nevada, key areas that are known to be good and are quite operationally very good to work in also.
John-Mark, one of the things I look for in investing in a junior miner is the CEO, the people up top. When you're looking for the people who to run the ship, like what are you looking for, and do they fit certain criteria? Do they have a certain track record of success? If you can go over that a little bit, as well as what are some successful companies that you've hit on and that you want to tell us about?
Well, I'm super lucky. I'm sitting here in the office in Vancouver, had the chance to work at BHP. And when we were at BHP, we made some discoveries, which turned out to make the company Ivanhoe. So Ivanhoe was from the Oyu in Mongolia. We were working in Mongolia and found a big discovery that Robert Friedland furthered along. So great to see. Worked in Arizona, the Resolution Porphyry there in Magma Copper, worked on that and drilled. So we've been involved in big things. Yeah, I did my PhD drilling in Mexico at the what's now called Alamos Gold at Mulatos, published that in economic geology. So a lot of early discoveries like that, worked at the Escondida mine, and then have continued to work. Recently, working with Riverside, we spun out shares in the company Capitan Silver. That company started out first at a 10 and then $20 million market valuation. It's now over 250 million dollars Canadian in value. It's recently been over $300 million in Canadian value, Capitan Silver, and we dividended that to the Riverside shareholders. So it's not only what we have done, but also what the shareholders in Riverside have profited from. We recently done that secondly with the company Blue Jay Gold. Blue Jay Gold, again, we formed the company 5 years ago. I named it, I got it going. We did the drilling, did the work, progressed the portfolio. Our VP exploration is both with Riverside and with Blue Jay Gold, our CFO as well. So the management teams in Riverside have been ongoingly able to develop and progress as we've incubated these companies. And now Blue Jay Gold's valued at over $50 million from where it was at $5 million. Again, 10 times growth, really see a lot more growth. So those are some of the track record recently and some historic track record as well.
So your model seems to protect shareholders, the dollars and dilution. It seems to mitigate risk by, it's not coming out of your pocket or my pocket if I'm a share owner. It's coming from these people who are trying to do the thing. Does that limit potential and upside if you can address both sides?
So it does limit the potential in the short term, although coming from such a small market capitalization of Riverside here, say we're at a $40 million valuation, we can go to a $200, $300 million valuation quite easily. Recently, we saw Origin go over $450 million valuation. So it does limit it. You don't see it going to ourselves necessarily to $1 billion valuation as we would have a minority interest or the royalty interest in the assets. On the other hand, the spinouts have been an amazing way to get your cake and eat it too. So that's been the creative difference that Riverside, and that's why going to the Rule conference is so helpful. We get to meet really good shareholders, and people that are watching your videos really can see that Riverside is unique because we're not just giving out the upside from Riverside, but potentially from the spinout shares and Riverside having the royalty. The upside of Riverside is very good with Discovery and ourselves forwarding projects. So we did the first drilling on Blue Jay. We did the work as Riverside. And then we realized, okay, to move this ahead is going to take a lot more dilution, and it was best to bring in additional capital and not dilute the entire structure in Riverside. So we do give the people the upside, the shareholders, and then we find ways to move it ahead once we see it gets to be the heavy lifting and more dilutive steps.
John-Mark, so is the spin out by design, and is that normal, typical? Is that the playbook?
Yeah, that's been the playbook. It's not by design. It wasn't where we started. We had helped make before the last three that we've now kind of complete pushed out as spinouts. Prior to that, we had kept the shares ourselves in Riverside. And we had structured it a little differently. The way we had structured those were straight option agreements that people earned into the properties, and Riverside got paid in shares. The more recent ones, we make a plan of arrangement that subdivides Riverside itself. So it becomes non-taxable. It's a share split. Just like you own Google or Facebook or Meta or something, and your shares get split in order of, say, the stock's at $200, they want it at $20, it's a 10-for-1 split. Similar to that, this is the playbook that Riverside adapted, copying what they were doing. So I saw that that was happening in the technology on the NASDAQ and places like that. And I said, this is a great way that generally looks like it's not taxable in the sense that it's not a dividend, but it acts like that. And myself being a giant shareholder, Rick Rule being a large shareholder, we have 38% European shareholders, and this works for all the shareholders generally, this type of approach. So it is a playbook that we adapted and have been creating and are really excited. And the key thing is getting good CEOs, good assets, in a good market. And those three together, unlocking the value for Riverside shareholders has been a key driver for us.
John-Mark, if you can, let's shift gears a little bit, go to the balance sheet and the share structure. If you can tell me how much you have in the bank, what the plan is to do with that. And then if you, again, I don't know, you're not spending it on exploration. So what are you spending it on? And then if you can go to the share structure, and if you can not only give me the share his history and options and warrants, but also major institutions. You mentioned Rick Rule having 9%. If you can tell me any other big names that are worth mentioning here.
Sure. So, and if anyone wants to go to the website, you can see a pie chart there. Rick Rule's in at 8%. Ourselves as managers in there at 10%. We have 38% on that pie chart are held as European investors. We have about 20% are general retail investors, and about 15% are high net worth North American investors. So it's in funds. So we have a very nice structure and diversification. We have 193 million shares out listed, 108 fully diluted. We have $5 million cash in the bank. We have had that about $5 million on and off for basically many years. We'd spend about $2 million a year and earn about $1 million a year in income as a company. The exploration that we're doing includes drilling, exploration. Right now, we're doing geophysical surveys, exploration results that Riverside is funding, but we get returns in payments that are lumpy, but that come back to us. So in November, we could get $2 million a payment by Fresnillo, the world's largest silver mining company, for example. We have a royalty with them, and we'll see how that goes or what happens, but we get lumpy payments back. So we've been able to protect not needing financing. So Riverside was able to go since COVID very long without having much share dilution. And what we've done is when we had done share dilution, it's really been around helping to create these spinouts. So we can add a little bit of capital in, and then that turns into a spinout back to shareholders. So it's a way of helping to incentivize and get the company to grow. So we have a good share base. We are careful with our spending, but we have constant news flow of exploration results. We'll have a news release later this week, for example.
John-Mark, you mentioned Rick Rule as one of the investors, for instance. I like Rick. I learned a lot from him. How much, with him having 8%, how much influence does he have? And then what else can you tell me about just kind of the people you have around you, as well as a little bit more about your experience that can help you guys determine what a good project is from a like just another exploration story?
No, sure. So, so basically myself, I'm, been in this all my career and quite a while. I don't have any more hair on my head, so you can see it's been many years of that on the rocks, and that's great. And
Looks
so,
good, John Mark.
lots of experience. And with me is other people that are similarly the Vice President Exploration, Freeman Smith, our corporate development manager, very experienced Julian Manco. We have a great team in Mexico, led with Luis Ortega. We have a good team in Canada as well doing projects. I just was with an elder person who works with us. So lots of experience that we have on the team that are working the financial side. The guys that worked with Great Bear and Kodiak and many other companies work as doing the back office for us. So good experience on the financials. I'm here in the office. We actually have an office group so we can all work together. So that's kind of how we run the team in Mexico, a local office there with the trucks and all the equipment. That's been funded with BHP by multiple different partners that have funded us for the last 20 years. So they've done the due diligence on the safety, environmental. So that's the competence of the team. You wouldn't see that we've been able to get 7 strategic alliances. Strategic alliances where the major funds 2, 3, or more years fully the exploration program of Riverside in a jurisdiction. To get that type of work once is incredible. To get it 7 times, that's unique.
John Mark, you've got several in your portfolio. Any major ones you want to talk about here? And then any you also mentioned you got some news coming out. Sounds like with what you got going on and the way you're structured, you guys got news going on all the time. If you can expound on that and tell us what news we can look forward to regarding your company.
Right on. So 3 different things we have going right now. One of them is drilling at the Union in Mexico. So working on that, and we'll have news results from the drilling. Really excited. We've completed the drilling. Now we're getting the assays back. Secondly, is rare earth elements in British Columbia. The Revel project will expand that property, and so we'll have news flow about that. We're looking to get a mineral deal with a party on that. So that's going ahead with the program and into the fall. The third is other gold properties in British Columbia. The work at the Red Jacket project has gold and copper, very close to where Taseko Mines has their large Yellowhead mining project. So it's a feasibility stage copper asset, and we're adjacent to that with copper and gold. So those are 3 of the key projects that we have news flow from all 3 of those, where we're doing work right now this summer at those properties is some of the news that we have. And then the big exciting news that helped the stock recently go up is the announcement that we've actually restructured towards the plan of arrangement. This will be the 3rd time we do that, creating the company Ravena. So Ravena is a set of Mexican assets that could potentially in 2027, if the market is there and all the steps, could potentially be spun out. And that would be yet another example of how we've unlocked the value with Riverside retaining a 2% net smelter royalty and the shareholders of Riverside getting shares in Ravena plus additional capital to move it ahead. So that's an exciting next step, series of them for Riverside shareholders.
John Mark, the prospect generator model, it's unique in a way, but it's also there's a lot to like. I mean, I've heard of other companies doing this, and I feel drawn to it. Now, do you anticipate other companies doing your similar model? Do you see this becoming more of a trend? Because, and that's first part of the question. Second part is, you said Rick Rule really likes the prospect generator model. Like, what does he like about it? What do you like about it? And how can people learn more about this process that you guys have?
So it's really easy to learn more about the process. You can call us. We'd love to talk to you. Give us a call, visit us on the website, and contact us. Really open. There's also YouTube channels. I've been doing YouTube videos since 2009. So we've got all kinds of different YouTubes about the different things we do, about drilling and work, always just trying to about education. Riverside focused as knowledge is golden used to be our tagline. And we really focused on education. I think that it is a great model. Welcome. You need technical team to be on the ground to do the work. You need partners, you need reputation, and the most important is you need success. So we've been lucky. We've worked very hard and had good success on various projects and had those move ahead. And prior had the success of finding deposits that were, as we were employees, with companies that have become very large. And I think that's a key aspect is proven track record, which Riverside delivers. I think that Mr. Rule likes it as other people do because it's not as dilutive. And so, as an owner in Riverside, you can own the shares, buy the shares in the market, and you realize there's not going to be a financing coming right behind you at a lower price, at a discount price with a warrant or something like that. That's not true in Riverside. So, Riverside's a very clean structure, have been very focused on shareholder value. And I think the model is an ideal way, but you definitely need partners to fund it. And it's great being in Vancouver where we can get the deals done and operate. For example, operating with Quest Corp, Southern Empire, and other people. And I'll be meeting them weekly, going over the projects with them, the progress. So giving them a turnkey interaction here in the office is another part of the business model, making Riverside special for this business.
John-Mark, for our listeners, I want to disclose that I am not currently an investor, although that may change given how much I do like the model. But please do your own due diligence. One of the ways you can do that is to follow their story, follow the website, the ticker, reach out to John-Mark with any questions. John-Mark, how can people do that?
Please. So RIVRES.com, rivres.com is very easy website. Riverside Resources Inc. You can also phone us at 778-327-6671. We also have an 800 number as well available on the website. We'd love to talk to you. Email us info@rivres.com. Love to follow up with you. When we had over 100 people interact with us during the Rule conference virtually online, and we love that. And we're following up and having one-on-one meetings with them now. So I welcome. And Steve, thank you for this interview. Your reputation is great. Your research is super. Thank you.
John-Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great to be on your show.